from the producer, because in order to have the pencil, like someone planted the seeds to grow a tree.
I don't think that's correct. I think
No,
the way I think the way they justify that everything is exploitation, because they take the aggregate of value created and then dice it up and say, well, you only, you know, for each pencil like a worker makes, he might make like a penny or something because it doesn't take much time to make a single pencil. But then
it goes deeper than that. What you're saying is also part of the theory. But they're basically saying that since you can't really accurately point out to who created something, because everyone works together to create everything, then nothing can be owned. So therefore it belongs to everyone. And if you're basically then selling a product or you're selling a good, you're not selling your product. You're exploiting people in order to claim that that product is yours.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to agree that that might be what they think. I've not heard any of them necessarily make that argument, but that could well be what they think. But even then, that conflicts with their idea of personal property, because the communists will constantly say, "Oh no, we just want your private property, which is your money making."
They go for the personal aspect.
No. They'll say like, "Oh, well, we're not going to come for your toothbrush." That's the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, until I monetize it, and then you're going to come for it because it's a way of making money. But but the thing is, I'm not saying there's not a contradiction there, because communism's full of contradictions.
No, but in the USSR, for example, you didn't own your house; you were renting it from.
Yeah, I know.
So you know, like, yeah, they won't come for your toothbrush, they won't come for your piece of clothing or whatever. But if you want to own a car, well, is that really personal, or can the state own all the cars in order to limit global warming or something?
Well, obviously, there's no limit. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so there is so much here that this is just a massive Kafka trap, where they've defined themselves as correct before even presenting this. The fact that this isn't Ezra Klein, this is some other kid, but like the fact that this guy would be like, hey, yeah, Marxism will show us while Carlson is wrong. No, it won't. You fucking moron. Marxism is just wrong about almost everything. Like, this is and it just goes to show you exactly how far to the left Vox is. The thesis is based on the Communist Manifesto, basically. That's his thesis. It's so unbelievably far left.
Well, Vox does mean the people, so there you go.
No, it doesn't. It means voice.
Does it? Oh yeah, Vox Popular. Oh, okay, my bad. I just hope.
It's pronounced Vox. Also, what's interesting is I'm glad I made it back in time. The whole point of false consciousness, I thought it only applied to the working class. Didn't they spend the previous parts of this video trying to do a gotcha? Haha, he's an elite. He's not working class.
Well, yeah. So I mean, he's basically the sneaky Jew to their working class white person.
Oh, so he's an elitist who secretly isn't an elitist.
Yeah, it literally is like the Jew question.
Yeah.
But it's like the elitist question. By the way, you got the best super chat ever. 2 genders, 2 scoops, 2 terms, trumping.
I'll go through a few of those actually. Just got it from the Incredible Salt Mountain. Hey V, when are you going to finish playing Resident Evil 2? Did you give Saga my $20? Yeah, where are my $20, V?
He keeps doing that. Like, he keeps giving me money on my channel, telling me to give him money.
That's not a very
Well, thank you for helping me.
You indoctrinated something.
Well, hopefully he does what I suggest people do, and watch people from all over the political spectrum.
That is true.
Learn good argumentation.
Yeah.
Try to poke holes in everything, even stuff on your side. Because if you don't tell your kids about this, somebody else will.
Fox is I went through the spike from high school and bullying the show. I wouldn't call it that
He's not shy, but I get it.
And I think he's definitely matured a lot as he's aged. When he was younger, he was soft.
You say that, Sargon. You say that, but the entire press is against it. You have the sleeping giants, an account of over 100,000 people that have a list of advertisers that they got to pull away from Carlson. What's funny is that there are advertisers who pulled away and still get the ads. So, and that was the funniest shit that I've ever read. I had this boy wiped out. You got hotmoney.org, which also talks about doing activism in order to try to get advertisers off the market. You got one left activist going to his house, trying to break down his door and terrorize his family. Like yeah, oh, and you also have like all these journalists going through everything he's did in the past, trying to do opinion necromancy.
Yeah,
like,
that's how we know. That's how we know about this. This is part of the opinion necromancy.
Yeah, like I definitely think like he's being oppressed. Like Tucker Carlson is legit.
He's not being oppressed; he's being attacked. But
Constantly.
Yeah, constantly. But you'll notice that like I saw this go around Twitter the other day. I looked at the numbers. CNN get about between 600,000 and 700,000 viewers on each one of their shows. Tucker Carlson gets 3,500 recently after the fall of Rachel Maddow. Like Tucker Carlson, no. Rachel Maddow's down to like 2.3 million, right? And she used to be nearly 4 million. She was right at the top. Tucker Carlson is now the big boy because the Russia conspiracy theory is just pancaked in. Rachel Maddow hasn't let it go, and now Tucker Carlson is raking in more viewers than all of CNN's primetime lineup.
Oof. I heard that Rachel has came up with a new conspiracy now.
Oh, really?
You know, we're going to have to watch it. Like, I haven't looked into it, but there was this article, like, Rachel Maddow comes up.
We'll do it another time.
Yeah.
Enjoy your food. Tucker once reported on Build-A-Boat. Gotcha, elitist. Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, you can call him elite all you want, but if he actually talks about relevant issues and speaks to the common problems of the common man, then what he is a traitor to his class, even though he's part of the elite. He's helping out the lower class. Like, that's a thing. But anyway.
Wasn't Karl Marx
just think
also...
that once you... Do these people think that just once you're rich, like that overrides any kind of idea you can have or empathy you can have?
Yeah, you can't have empathy unless you're part of it. Like, you can't understand how bad cancer is unless you get it, like, as a doctor.
You don't know either.
But, like, it wasn't Karl Marx also not part of the working class?
Of course not.
So why aren't they criticizing Karl Marx? For,
Engels
like,
owned a factory. Karl Marx never even went there.
Yeah, like why can't they also point out? Okay, but how can Karl Marx understand the worker if he never worked in the factory?
it's unreal.
You and your ideas.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
So let's say you and your coworkers are feeling frustrated and start thinking of forming a union. To stop you, your boss might say, "You don't need a union.
Who says this? It's those damn pregnant women.
Well, let's assume that's correct, right? Let's assume that I'm
Wow.
Let's assume that I'm Amazon. Hold on.
Right.
Let's assume that I'm working at Amazon, where you have to piss in a bin, and they're constantly doing surveillance on you. They're making you work over hours. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's form a union. And the boss comes, oh, you don't need the union. It's only women. Like, you're going to tell your boss to fuck off? Like, no, we're forming a union regardless of what bullshit you're saying. Like, I definitely can see the exploitation. You don't have to gaslight me that I'm not being exploited.
You can't form a union because Karen had a baby last year. What the fuck?
No one would ever say this. But like, corporations are so woke-friendly. There's, like, I don't know what kind of 19th century caricature of a capitalist that this guy is trying to impersonate, but can you imagine Mark Zuckerberg? Can you imagine Bill Gates doing that? Like, who the fuck does this guy have in mind?
And who is that gonna convince? Who's like, oh, I'm starving, I'm not making enough money, I work so many hours, I'm not getting paid for things. Who's gonna be convinced by the boss saying, yeah, women get too much paternity leave? It's like, of course! And it's them the whole time.
And that's mandated by law in those countries anyway. So it's just...
Yeah. Not to mention, like, the gaming industry is now forming unions about communism.
But this is the point. This is exactly the point. Like, he's using something from the middle of the 19th century to try and analyze modern problems. Like, you can't do that because women are entitled to maternity leave. Everyone has unions anyway. It's like, you know, in every job I've been in, there has been a union there. I just haven't needed to use them, you know? And so it's just one of those things where it's like, you are using anachronistic theory to try and analyze something that has moved on far past whatever it is you're saying here.
Maybe he's talking about us, Sargon. Maybe he's talking about YouTubers.
We should unionize.
Rags is going around knocking up too many broads.
Yeah.
If they weren't taking so much time off, we'd all be able to go home right now.
Or they might say,
it's these damn privileged millennials. They're so obsessed with work-life balance that we all have to pick up the slack.
Wait, what?
I don't understand. Like, maybe this is
That
something
is a
Vox...
new one.
You know what I'm starting to believe? Like, he works at Vox, and maybe that's what his boss tells him.
Well, hey, look, I don't work at Vox, so I can't say that they don't, you know.
Maybe it's
I
just
don't make
his
enough
personal
money
experience.
because millennials don't work enough?
But again, like, I don't understand this. If you have someone that's actually oppressed, all right, let's talk about, you know, a guy on a plantation or a Jewish person at a Nazi camp, you know, like, what can you actually tell that person to stop thinking he's oppressed?
Well,
what arguments can you actually make?
I don't know.
So that the person doesn't think...
Well, the argument seems to be these working class people are so retarded. They'll believe anything we tell them.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah, it's literally that. It's like, oh yeah, the working class people are so gullible, all right, that when they get a tax cut from Trump, you know, they will not understand that they're actually being oppressed.
I guess. I mean, pregnant women and millennials. Wow. Okay, man.
All right. Anyway, let's carry on.
Accept their exploitation by pointing their anger in the wrong direction. Or, as Tucker Carlson would say,
one thing you learn when you grow up in a castle and look out across the moat every day at the hungry peasants out in the village is you don't want to stoke envy among the proletariat.
Thanks.
Okay.
Tucker.
And what does he do on his show? He literally sits there going, the elites are the problem. So he's betraying the thing that the elites don't want him to do. So you can't sit there going, he's not helping people, because he's literally doing it. Like,
I'm starting to think that I understand what this fake consciousness means. It's like when you have a neighborhood that's plagued by gang violence, and the left says that the problem is the police officers, and they're directing, like, they're channeling the anger to a problem that's not the actual issue. So you're getting, like, people to be really upset at the police rather to be upset at the politicians who allows the gangs to exist in the first place.
Yeah. And Brzezinski makes a great point here, actually. Marx is the archetype of the NEET, never went to a factory, wrote about it in his journal, which was published as a manifesto, and lived on an allowance because Engels adopted him, even and also thought his ideas were neat. Loser. Absolutely, Brzezinski. That's exactly. He's a fucking loser.
No, but the left, I think they do this false consciousness all the time. Like, they will look at a problem and they will direct it towards something else. Like I gave the example with the cops, right? But they do it for other things too. They blame capitalism. They blame the institutional racism. You know,
well, it's like reverse false consciousness. Instead of being tricked into thinking that they are oppressed, they're tricked into thinking that they're oppressed when they're not.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
that's why we call it woke, because it's the opposite of false consciousness.
Tucker's said he's not anti-elite, according to Patrick. He just hates the current elite. Well, you know, his family are elite. Of course, he's not just like anti-elite as a.
Yeah, he's not like fuck rich people.
Yeah, he's not a communist, for fuck's sake. You know, but he's saying that the way that things, I mean, like, he's very clear about it. It's like,
at the NRCC annual spring dinner, he mocked the fear-mongering plan by Democrats to accelerate the financial collapse of the U.S. with their scheme to eliminate cow farts, air travel, and other harebrained expensive schemes to save humanity from the brink of extinction in the next 12 years.
A young bartender, wonderful young woman,
touching subjects that are
the Green New Deal.
Normally out of bounds.
You know, but it's crazy. You know, the first time I heard it, I said, that's the craziest thing. You have senators that are professionals, that you guys know, that have been there for a long time, white hair, everything perfect, and they're standing behind her and they're shaking, they're petrified of her. We support the Green New Deal. How about the woman from Hawaii, the senator from Hawaii? Nice woman, right? Oh, I'm glad I didn't say it. I'm going to get great points from my wife for not saying it.
That.
Years old.
If Trump is anything, you gotta admit he's controversial and unorthodox. At the NRCC annual spring dinner, he mocked the fear-mongering plan by Democrats to accelerate the financial collapse of the U.S. with their scheme to eliminate cow farts, air travel, and other harebrained expensive schemes to save humanity from the brink of extinction in the next 12 years.
A young bartender, wonderful young woman, the Green New Deal. You know, but it's crazy. You know, the first time I heard it, I said, that's the craziest thing. You have senators that are professionals, that you guys know, that have been there for a long time, white hair, everything perfect, and they're standing behind her and they're shaking, they're petrified of her. We support the Green New Deal. How about the woman from Hawaii, the senator from Hawaii? Highly nice woman, right? Oh, I'm glad I didn't say it. I'm going to get great points from my wife for not saying that. But she was so angry to men, right? Remember, she was screaming at men. And then they asked her about the Green New Deal. I love it. They said, yeah, but you don't allow airplanes anymore, so you can't get to Hawaii. Oh, we have to work on something. So somebody jokingly said, we'll build a train to Hawaii, and she actually thought it was a decent idea. So now she supports it, because she thinks they're going to build a train to Hawaii. But they really believe this stuff. And you know, it's like, it's the craziest thing. They believe it. And we will have to do something. But don't do it too early, please. Don't kill it. Because we want to be able to run against it. If they beat me with the Green New Deal, I deserve to lose. So.
We'll get back to the video in a second. Countries like Russia, Belarus, China, Egypt, North Korea, and Turkey are banning VPNs. Why? Because virtual private networks are powerful and extremely effective in hiding your activity, identity, and location while you're on the internet. That's why entire countries are working to ban them. I personally use Virtual Shield because they're one of the easiest and fastest VPNs I've seen, and their no log policy protects their users' anonymity from any potential data breaches. This month, Virtual Shield has an Easter special of 40% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans for as low as $3 a month. Sign up for a free 30-day trial and get 40% with my link in the description. You got nothing to lose and everything to hide. Trump Democrat off all and drives every Democrat cat around in circles, up the wall, and into glass windows. We all know it's a dog and pony show, but at least it's an entertaining, unconventional show, as most people stay mesmerized by the sleight of hand that is the left versus right paradigm. Of course, Trump's remarks about the young bartender's Green New Deal climate change proposal caught the attention of socialist misfit Alexandria Cowflatulence Cortez, who told Newsweek Wednesday that, quote, the last guy who underestimated me lost. That's all I gotta say about that. The socialist freshman representative from New York still sees a conspiracy between Fox News, Republicans, the Mercers, dark money, and fellow Democrats as the driving force behind her crushing unpopularity. Last week's Quinnipiac poll found her with just a 23% approval rating overall and underwater across all demographics except Democrats. But even then, she didn't have the approval of a majority of Democrats. And that's pretty funny. As much as her handlers have tried to get her in shape to hold up to the public spotlight, they just can't seem to get her to come across with a lick of sense. Fortunately, most people can at least see through that smoke and mirror stunt. To this day, Ocasio-Cortez sees a conspiracy behind her unpopularity. She says, quote, it's almost as though there's a directed, concerted far-right propaganda machine with a whole cable news channel and a dark money internet operation propped up by the Mercers et al., dedicated to maligning me and stoking national division. Yeah, it's called Zionism there, Ocasio-Cortez. But it's not directed against you, it's directed against the American people and the world. Ocasio-Cortez followed by agreeing with the Young Turks talking head, who also blamed Democrats for her unpopularity. He said, the issue is that while right-wing media and GOP politicians are coordinating 24/7 in their war against you, many centrist Democrats and ostensibly Democrat-leading media outlets are also working to undercut you as much as they can. Yeah, it couldn't possibly be that people just don't like her because she's a socialist who wants to steal and redistribute everybody's hard-earned income against their will as she steals $174,000 a year from taxpayers for a congressional salary. It couldn't possibly be that. Cortez responded, word, but someone's got to care about growing the Dem base. The thing people don't realize is that the House is where you can build turnout infrastructure to win presidentials. When we don't invest in blue seat organizing in the House, we don't get the turnout we need every 4 years. And that's all it's about for these people: winning seats, capitalizing on popularity, and establishing a majority. It's not about doing the right thing. It's not about leaving people alone. It's not about promoting and supporting the free market. It's about gaining a majority and controlling people through legislation. It's like that on the right side of the aisle, and it's like that on the left side. So propaganda magazines like Time can print as many Maoist homage photos of Cortez all they want. It doesn't change the fact that she and the rest of her 534 colleagues in Washington are our enemies. I guess till this epidemic of cognitive dissonance in the political world blows over, we can spend some time taking out our laser pointers and driving some cats up the wall with it.
They introduced the so-called Green New Deal. It sounds like a high school term paper that got a low mark. It would shut down American energy, which I don't think the people in Texas are going to be happy with that.
Leave your thoughts about this for the world, the Google Thought Police, and the disgusting individuals in Washington's District of Criminals in the comments section below. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Also, check out over 100 hard-hitting designs in the shirt store, and if you want to support more content, hit me up on Patreon. All those links will be I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
We'll title this tape Planet Earth About to Be Recycled. Your only chance to evacuate is to leave with us.
Go stand next to her.
We don't want to talk to fascists.
Can I get your opinion on them? What do you think about these people?
I think that this is our fight. I think that we've been here for 16 to...
How are we fascists? I'm a 25-year-old guy who graduated with a biology degree. What does that even mean?
Yeah, this is a fascist station. Anyways, I'm just...
It's not a fascist. What? Can I ask you what that means?
We've been here. We love this university. I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker 39 years. I haven't gotten a raise. I can't get equity. And my pension's in trouble. That's what it means. I don't know who they are. I don't care. I care about UCLA and our patients.
The private corporations start paying their fair share of tax.
What?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Like, Tucker understands that the culture war is important, you know?
Yeah.
Which is why they go on about it all the time. Like, 90% of Vox's stuff is culture war. You know, in fact, this is culture war right here.
Yeah, and I think like the thing that pisses them off the most is when he invites an actual leftist from their camp, like the giraffe guy or this lady, and they say like something of the most stupid
craziest
thing
shit ever,
the most craziest shit, and then people clip it and they make it go viral.
Yeah.
And it really hurts them. It really hurts them, and that's why they're so upset. You know, because if you look at Vox, they don't want people to know that Antifa are communists. They always call them protesters. They always or counter protesters. They never say like, yeah, they're Antifa, they're communists. And when Tucker like actually gets, you know, an Antifa professor and he opens his mouth and talks about the bourgeoisie and the revolution and storming the castle, then people are like, holy shit, these people are insane.
But it only goes one way because they never get right-wingers on their shows. They can't have it. They can't handle it. It's so annoying to watch. I would love to see left-wing shows that had right-wingers go on.
Oh, they do. They got Bannon. Yeah, they do get Bannon.
Who got Bannon?
They don't let him talk. It's like constant interruptions. Like they ask a question, he starts answering. They ask another question. And
just sit there and look miserable.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they want to do.
No, the closest they get, people like Sam Harris, who is not a right winger. He's just not a communist.
But the thing is, like Tucker Carlson actually lets people speak on his show. They don't bombard them with question after question after question.
Yeah.
They just ask a question. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Doritos. If yoga is racist, is hot yoga more racist?
To be fair, this isn't unique to Tucker. Fox News' MO is using culture war stories.
You know, I love the editing there.
But what makes
it made it sound as if it's Tucker's opinion
Yeah.
that the guy's racist.
No. Hang on, let's just watch a little bit more because, and I'll pause it after he's gone through the. All Tucker culture does is talk about the culture, because you'll see that this is exemplified even worse in a second. Hang on.
Economics. But what makes Tucker unique is how often he uses the language of anti-elitism while ignoring real exploitation. Take the 2017 Republican tax cuts, for example.
It's the largest tax cut in the history of our country.
Yeah, good stuff.
And reform.
Republicans spent months promising their tax cuts would help the middle class, including during several segments on Tucker's show.
This is really about a middle-income tax cut.
Okay. Help David Packman.
Okay. That,
I mean,
of course,
it helped my
turned out to
parents,
be
it helped my grandmother a whole bunch, and those are just the ones that I know about.
Well, you know, there's that Donald Trump always helping out the elites, like your grandmother.
Yeah, but the elites are getting bigger tax.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the complaint. It's
honestly,
it's so ridiculous.
This is the communist problem. It's like they can't stand that rich people have it better. It's like, yeah, but you're having it better as well. Yeah, but they're having it better than me.
That's exactly it. It's exactly it.
A scam. The overwhelming majority of those tax cuts went to corporate shareholders and CEOs.
No. Everyone got a tax cut. It was the overwhelming majority of the money because it was by percentage, you dishonest hacks. Fuck's sake.
Pretty simple.
But the overwhelming majority of those tax cuts went to the elite. No, they didn't.
Like, listen, if Bill Gates saves 10% and your poor ass saves 10%, Bill Gates will save more money by amount, because 10% for him is a lot more.
But you still all got a 10% tax cut.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you still get the 10%.
If I can't have it best, nobody can have it.
Yeah, if I can't have it like Bill Gates, then I don't want a tax cut, and neither does he.
Yeah.
Give away to the very rich permanent tax cuts for corporations and almost nothing for the average person.
So what was...
It's just horseshit, though. I mean, ask David Packman.
You know, like with this mentality, it's better to be taxed more, because if you're getting taxed 10%, then Bill Gates is getting taxed 10%, and he's being taxed more than you, so we should ask for more taxes.
Checkmate, Bill Gates.
Tucker Carlson, populist hero, talking about the week that happened.
Racist trees. In Palm Springs, California, city officials are planning to clear-cut a grove of tamarisk trees because they're racist.
Ah, yes. Racist trees.
That's your side saying that, not us.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the other thing. Like, it's his side that talked about trees being racist.
Yeah, like it's Tucker's contention that the trees are racist. No, it's your fucking contention.
Yeah, it's like, do you think he would randomly start talking about racist trees if you guys didn't bring it up first?
Yeah,
and not only that, like, Tucker doesn't see the tax cuts as being a bad thing because tax cuts are a good thing to him.
Yeah.
So why would he talk about it as if it was a bad thing? Look at all these tax cuts. He promoted it. You showed another segment where they were saying, yeah, we're going to bring in tax cuts. And obviously the Republicans are like, yeah, this is a fucking great idea. What are the left talking about? Oh, racist trees. What a fucking bunch of idiots, you know?
No, but that's literally the thing. Like, he knows that racist trees are viewed by the American people as the most stupid shit ever. So he's trying to pin this on Tucker Carlson to make it seem like he's the one bringing up the racism.
Yeah.
when all he is doing is he's showing, look, this is what people from the university, like the left, is becoming. Like, it has gotten to the point where they believe that the trees are racist. What do you guys think? And that's his show. That's why it's famous, right? Because no one else is exposing this leftist madness that's just allowed to go through. Well, why is it that leftist protesters don't want cameras? Whenever like you have like an Antifa or something, like they're active, they're leaders.
Cameras
like,
are racist.
Yeah, no. Melissa Click knows that what she's encouraging students to do is just incredibly stupid and dumb, and she doesn't want the general public to know what's going on at university. So she's like, "Give me some muscles. Can I have some muscles over here? Remove this vile camera filth."
Let me catch up on a few of these super chats. Tommy Robinson spoke at Oxford Union. Does that make him elitist? Oh, Tommy Robinson, obviously, man, elitist. False consciousness, a lie told by communists when attempting to trick the working class into orchestrating their own oppression. Yeah, exactly, right? It benefits the working class not a whit. Like, no one has ever demonstrated why the abolition of private property would be a good thing. Why would it be good? Tell me why it'd be good. Oh, it'll make us all equal.
Because someone has more than I do, Sargon.
Exactly.
And it should be nobody's.
Exactly. The only argument is it would reduce inequality. Well, fuck inequality. You know, it will increase poverty, and that's not good. Like, I'd rather be unequal and not poor than equal and poor. How is that hard? Who wins, a Chad Fox presenter or Virgin Fox host? Or Virgin MSNBC host? Carl, please say, make Newfoundland British again. It's always the right's reaction to the culture war that's bad. Yeah, oh man, you should see the conservatives in my country. Like, they are just progressives, basically. And one of them resigned from the Conservative Party yesterday and called himself a progressive conservative. And it's like, so you're conserving progressive values. So you're doing Labour Party's work for them.
Progressive driving under the speed limit.
Yes, that's exactly it. Right-wing libertarianism, 1980s culture, over centrist cut culture. By the way, Tucker Carlson is a socialist. Watch him debate Ben Shapiro, working class scum. Okay, thanks, Bubblegum Gun. That's a good
Well, to be honest, like, Americans believe every public program is socialism. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, exactly. For an elitist, again, like, Tucker Carlson's happy to actually accept certain things like social programs and stuff, as far as I'm aware. So, anyway, go on.
Tucker Carlson seems like the kind of guy that you could just get along with. He's not going to look down at you. He's not going to be all high and mighty and condescending. You could just like have a beer with him, and you could talk to him, and he would get what you're saying, and he would empathize with what you're getting at.
Well, yeah, probably. My co-workers complained because the yearly tax return was lower, but on the week I paid about $30 less in taxes, so way more money for me. And then some other guys like, 2018 I made $6K more and got taxed $900 less than 2017. Man, that sucks. So, man,
all right, man.
No, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that Donald Trump has done this to you. You know, if only people had listened to Vox and just up those taxes.
I can alleviate the burden of your monetary guilt if you need me to.
They clipped Tucker out of context on the Castle quote. He was joking about his background. Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, you know, he was saying
honesty.
He was saying it in a joking way, but it is true. You know, he is from a wealthy family, obviously.
I'm willing to believe you that there was racist intent in planting these trees. Why are we punishing the trees for that?
Tucker spent twice as long talking about this random tree story as he did about the tax cuts.
Yeah, but he's in favor of the tax bills.
Yeah, he likes the tax cuts. He doesn't see them as a problem.
And everyone else is talking about it. It's like it's cap. You can switch the channel if you're not interested.
Yeah.
They don't watch Fox.
I love the way that the left is just like, yeah, we're pro raising taxes.
Yeah, like,
I wouldn't run on that.
Like, okay.
I mean, usually they talk about, yeah, we need social programs, which actually translate for taxes, but they don't actually flat out say it. Like,
oh, no, now they are. I mean, David Pakman, again, I go back to this because it was just, he was literally arguing that he shouldn't have had a tax cut, and now he's making too much money. And it's like, David, what did I do to earn that tax cut? It's like, fucking, it's your money.
Yeah, but it's like, David, you can donate to charity. Like,
they're just not taking as much as they used to be taking.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all yours to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like, look, if you really don't want more money, there's like charities like Food on Wheels and stuff like that. Like you can donate. If you have
I just can't imagine being in the position of feeling burdened by getting to keep too much of your own money.
Yeah, I just... And as you pointed out, it's like, it's their money to begin with. It's like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that didn't like... because Amazon was not paying as much taxes. It's like, yeah, okay, now they move somewhere else, right? Because you were looking at the taxes thinking that it's your money.
Yeah.
But it was their money to begin with, and now that they moved, you're not getting shit.
And I can't remember the name of the curve, but every time they like raise taxes on the super rich, they never get the return that they're expecting because they leave. And it's just one of those things. It's like that you can't just penalize them because they are actually the rich and they can afford to fuck off.
Does that seem a little unfair? If you were a tree, you might feel a little differently.
This is false consciousness in action. Convince workers to focus their rage at targets that don't matter.
Racist trees.
And they'll be...
Fucking God. So disingenuous. Yeah, the racists are led by Tucker, and again, Tucker isn't like... It's not... America isn't socialist, okay? You don't have only one channel. You can flip the channel and watch something else that you care about. You can flip it on CNN and you can hear about the taxes.
But it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like, it's as if this one extremity is the only part of the social justice left that is having an effect on people's lives in real life. In like every fandom, in every workplace, in the laws of my country in particular. It's just most hysterically out there when it comes to racist trees, but this is all part of a larger tapestry of what the radical left is doing. So it's just like making it sound like this is Tucker's innovation. So dishonest. So dishonest.
The argument they're making is this person who doesn't agree with us doesn't talk about the things we want to talk about.
What a bastard.
No shit.
He doesn't even think that he's putting false consciousness into the proles.
He doesn't even think he's wrong. Oh.
Yeah, doesn't he know that we're right?
To the very rich.
Don't want to stoke envy.
Tucker does this all the time. Last May, Congress rolled back regulations meant to stop Wall Street from creating another financial crisis.
The financial institutions spent $200 million in lobbying.
This is the kind of thing real populists hate.
Big money rules.
Economic galaxy brain Bernie Sanders.
But Tucker didn't mention the rollback once.
Yeah, but he was in favor of it, wasn't he? Because he's a right-winger and they want to deregulate to encourage wealth creation.
Yeah, like what they wanted
simple.
You wanted to mention, yeah, I approve of this. It's fine. There we go, on to the next subject.
Yeah, but this guy's acting like, oh, there we go, got him. It's like, no. And if you'd asked him, he'd say, no, I think that's a good idea. And he would give you his reasons for why that's a good idea. But why is this guy's guns? Just loads of guns are like super unhealthy looking.
Because being healthy is kind of in right now.
Reminds me when 3 BuzzFeed reported 2 blood tests as part of a program, and they were all under testosterone.
Well, of course.
All 3 of them. Like
it was 4 of them. They had lower testosterone than like a
3 were under, and 1 was borderline. Like 1 would be like, look, you have to retake the test next month, like just to be sure that you don't.
But I love it. It's like real populists say, why don't we raise your taxes? Why? Real populists are communists, basically.
Yeah, but Sargon, if you pay more taxes, okay, Bill Gates will pay more than you, so you're hurting.
Brilliant. I mean, that'll matter to Bill Gates. That means he doesn't have... He'll probably have to get a smaller jet plane or something. You know? I'll have to start eating fucking tinned food.
Instead, he was dedicating multiple segments to a random dude who refused to move out of his parents' house, which Carlson saw as proof that millennials were too entitled.
Well, they are, and... Okay. What of it?
It does seem to support the argument he's making.
Yeah, like, they don't understand how capitalism works. Like, Tucker puts out whatever the fuck he wants, and if people want to watch it, they watch it. It's not like the snake cop.
Well,
that's capitalism.
I remember that segment, right? The whole point is that the guy, wasn't he suing his parents?
He was suing his parents because they said he had to move out of their house, and he's like 30.
Yeah, but this is like a good example of the problem of millennials. Like this kind of entitlement to stay at home with adult children and never have to get out on their own and have to like the thing they expect are elite standards from the word go. Like, when I moved out of my house, my parents' house, I was in a shared accommodation at university. When I left university, I was in a shared accommodation with a bunch of friends. And then eventually, I could afford to get my own place, and now I have a house, you know? So it's just like, it's a ladder you work up as you improve. It's not, but like this thing,
I moved out as soon as I could.
Same here, man. I wanted my independence. But the millennials, they want to be dependent. And this is something that is a problem in society. And so Tucker is highlighting this one case because it's suing his fucking parents over it. That's how bad it is. And this guy's like, and he's just like, well, I mean, that's not a real problem, is it? It is a real problem, which is why 3.5 million people are watching Tucker now, dipshit. Holy fuck.
It's not only that they're watching Tucker, but they can't believe what they're seeing. Like, that's why
Yeah, Tucker's making relevant points to the social problems that exist in the United States.
I think that probably does have something to do with the safe space movement.
So just to recap, instead of talking about bank deregulation, we got one multimillionaire complaining to another multimillionaire about how millennials are too entitled.
So when Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton is talking, aren't they multimillionaires? Like, I keep remembering this in the previous elections. Like, they keep saying, oh, Trump is a billionaire, Trump is a billionaire. Hillary Clinton was far more richer than he was.
No. He had more money. He had more assets than Hillary. But I mean, Hillary, the Clintons are still multi-millionaires. I mean, like hundreds of millions.
Did he? Like, I remember someone actually went through their finances. The Clinton family had far more.
Well, I mean, I'm not aware of it. I don't think Hillary Clinton's a billionaire, but she's, I mean, definitely multi-millionaire, yeah. But it's, for the Clintons, it was more the sort of political networks they had. And Bernie's on his third house now, so you know what? I'm not going to trust his opinion on what the work. But Bernie's never had a fucking job either. Bernie went into politics, you know, and it just like Jeremy Corbyn. In fact, Bernie fucking holidayed in the Soviet Union, like in the 80s. What the? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, we're millionaires though. They're a problem. People have made some money. Okay.
False consciousness.
Amazing the country this is becoming. We're dedicated to chronicling it for you in all detail.
Last February, Trump made it easier for lenders to give out predatory payday loans, which trapped working class people in cycles of debt they can't get out of.
Okay, that's actually not a bad thing to call them up on, because payday loans are predatory. I agree.
Many of these loans have interest rates of 400%.
The move was a huge win for predatory lenders, who Democrats have been trying to regulate for years.
This is a lobby that's extraordinarily powerful. They have members, and the members want results.
I'm okay with the premise of this, but I don't believe like a word that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah,
he's ruined his good faith. So I would have to look up this stuff on my own.
Yeah, I mean, predatory lenders are horrible.
I know about like predatory lenders, but like the details of who supports them and what's in the bills and stuff, I just do not trust him.
This guy is from Fox, right? Like he's got access to Main Street and whatnot. Like he just say and inform people about predatory lenders. It's like never do business with them. No matter how desperate you are to not do business.
About predatory lenders, and why is he spending all this time on Tucker Carlson?
Good question. You would be inclined to think that he's a partisan hack, and you'd be right.
In the move once. Instead, he spent the week blaming Democrats for focusing on identity politics.
Yeah, identity politics are bad.
It seems to be everywhere.
They're a problem. Yeah.
I mean, it seems to have completely overrun the Democratic Party at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose an election in 2020 because of it. So
you lost 2016 because of it. So
yeah,
you know, just saying.
Elections in this country used to be based on.
I mean, notice we're talking about President Trump.
But notice how the way he's framing it, elections used to be based on positions of common agreement. It was party politics, as in actual democratic politics where people could have a dialogue. Like Tucker is speaking to the root causes of the problems. And this guy's like, yeah, but why aren't you complaining about payday lenders? Well, he can complain about payday lenders tomorrow, can't he? For the love of God.
Anyway, the left is too distracted by global warming or the lack of transgender SEAL teams to pay any attention.
You spent 3...
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
Okay.
Days on the racist tree story.
Did he?
False consciousness.
Did it keep developing?
I mean, in the sense that you can just define things into existence. Yeah, sure.
But how, like, okay, if he spent 3 days on the racist tree story, why were the leftists pushing it so it lasted for 3 days worth of content? I missed the racist tree story, but like, you know, it wasn't Tucker's creation, was it?
Why did he feel the need?
Yeah.
And here's another thing, right? Like if that tree story apparently gets Tucker to talk about something else than what's important, why isn't the left just controlling their own craziness? Like the right wing constantly, you know, talks about against neo-Nazis, and they make sure that people who are extremists that from the right get ostracized. The left never does that. The left embraces their own extremists and their own lunatics.
Yeah, where are all the left-leaning folks who are telling, you know, who are going out there and saying, stop talking about the racist trees. That's fucking retarded. It makes us look stupid.
Also, I'm not seeing 3 days worth. He did one on the 20th of December.
Oh my God, he lies even about that.
What?
Hang on a sec. No, I mean, there was a guy called Mark who sat in for Tucker Carlson and talked about it.
Mark, Tucker, same thing.
I mean, I'm only seeing one report on the 20th of December, but maybe that's because I'm just, you know, hot Googling, and maybe Vox has got some sources. So we'll just assume he did. Why did the left go on about racist trees, little guy?
False consciousness. Okay, last one. In May, House Republicans passed huge cuts to Medicare and Medicaid.
This bill cuts taxes for massively high-income people by hundreds of billions and cuts the health care of low and middle-income Americans by hundreds of billions.
If there was ever
also,
a time
Lowell using CNN as a source.
Yeah.
to get mad at the elite, this was it.
I think this is one of the largest pure redistributions from poor to rich in one bill.
So, okay, hang on. If ever there was a time to get mad at the elites, this is it. So Tucker is mad at the elites for other reasons, and he's not happy with that. No, you need to be mad at the elites for my reasons.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, basically, it's like Tucker is not a good ally. You know, he talks his own opinions. He speaks his own mind. That's not what a good ally does.
Well, that is the entire complaint, isn't it?
We've ever seen.
But Tucker Swanson Carlson treated the whole thing like a big joke.
The left has had a full psychotic break.
Then he turned to the stories that really matter.
Well, why didn't you tell us what Tucker's actual complaint was there?
Yeah, he's covering it, but what's his argument? You're cutting him off. We can't hear his argument.
Yeah, I mean, if Tucker says the left is having a psychotic breakdown or whatever, I believe him because I can see the left having a psychotic breakdown as well. And I'm sure that you did have a psychotic breakdown over Trump repealing Obamacare or whatever it was. I personally don't follow American healthcare very closely. So I'm actually not sure what happened with that. But, like, I can believe that the left had a spurg out about it and that Tucker has his Republican reasons for not thinking it's a good idea. So why don't you engage with those reasons instead of just saying he's not doing what I want him to do?
Michael Moore saying something mean about Trump, and a random academic paper suggesting we should eat bug meat.
When Al Gore starts serving crickets for lunch on his private jet, I'm in.
The largest...
Well, he's criticizing the elites again, is he not? Like, is this
What's
not
the point? Yeah, Michael Moore and Al Gore, I mean...
They're elite.
They're elites.
Yeah, but I think he's criticizing their elites.
Oh, of course. They were Democrat
wrong
elites.
elites. So close, Tucker.
They were pushing the right
so
narrative.
Close. Almost had it. Almost had it.
Nearly there. Nearly there. Next time, though, Tucker, you'll become a communist next time.
Redistribution from poor to rich we've ever seen.
Don't want to stoke envy.
The goal of Tucker's show
editing
isn't to challenge
Yeah. I mean, don't worry.
Just tell me the argument. I don't need the editing. It's actually quicker to just give me the argument instead of do all the clips and cuts. And...
Sure, but I mean, it is excellent propaganda that he's creating.
Oh, it's great propaganda. The music in the back, the mouthing the words, the lack of context for a lot of these statements.
Presenting Marxist theory as if it isn't repeatedly debunking itself through real-life examples.
The elite. It's to make sure you never realize who they are. To get you so mad at atheists, feminists, immigrants, millennials, trans people, college students, pot smokers, vegans, the NFL, Brooklyn witches,
and gets you mad at atheists.
I don't remember him talking about atheists, but
yeah, me neither. But I mean, don't let the lie get in the way. Don't let the lie get in the way of.
I mean, it seemed like he did. I mean, and sure, maybe he did. Yes, like. They've removed a bench that obviously had some Christian symbolism on or something. Who cares? Like, okay, Tucker Carlson represents the Christian Republicans. Why wouldn't he talk about this? But the other things, let's...
Atheists, feminists, immigrants, millennials, trans people, college students, pot smokers, vegans, the NFL, Brooklyn witches, and Lena fucking Dunham.
So the
sacred
elite.
cows. Yeah, not only that, it's like he just named like the grievous cows you're not allowed.
You're breaking up. V, you're breaking up. Do you want to just like leave and rejoin you?
Sure.
But yeah, these are all things that are like the sacred. Yeah, like V saying, the sacred cows, the sort of the new religion of the elite. These are just the manifestations of it. Like Lena Dunham's a multi-millionaire. You know, like she's one of the elite. Like all of these things are elite things.
I was saying that they're sacred cows, like you're not allowed to criticize them. It's not that you're not even allowed to criticize. You're not allowed to say anything bad about like transgender people, vegans, and you know, like all the numbers of grievances that he issued there.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But what I was saying is that these are the sort of like the aspects of the religion of the elite at this point. Like all of the things like Lena Dunham. Well, she's a fucking famous actress. She has a cultural impact. Tucker is talking about
Same thing with Michael Moore.
Yes.
That's why they're talking about Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, exactly.
Same reason. Fucking hell. Are you retarded?
Furious Dan says, Joe Biden pretends to hate white people, but by all measures, Joe Biden is white. Vox Smoghole 2019. That's a really good one. Reason why he wants Tucker to be angry at the elites, but only his own by his own reasons, is because Vox is trying to enact cultural fascism with argumentation. Well, I mean, yes, but like, it's more that he's just pushing his own agenda. That's the whole thing. This is my agenda. Tucker opposes it and often criticizes the aspects of my agenda he doesn't like. And for some reason, I think that this isn't going against the elites, despite the fact that my agenda is unbelievably elite. Louis is right. Europe isn't free. Sign up now for US vassalage. The early signers will get preferential treatment for the Orange God Emperor. Well, Europe isn't free, obviously. Political EFAP. Does Wolf have a broken nose? I don't actually know Wolf, so I couldn't invite him on.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. False consciousness from Brzezinski. The gaslight train of thought. The Gaslight Express, essentially. Address the JQ. Everything that like Jews are into, other people are into. So it's not that simple. But I mean, Jewish identitarianism is a thing, which is annoying. I mean, Dankula's fallen foul of that. And any identitarianism is bad. And there are loads of Jews who are opposed to Jewish identitarianism. So what are you going to do? Right, okay.
That you don't get mad at the people who are actually in charge.
If you care about America, you ought to...
He likes Trump, though. Like, Tucker Carlson generally likes Trump, I think. So, he doesn't see... That's the thing. You can't expect people who don't agree with you to see the same problems and things as you do.
But are we pretending...
You're starting from such a strange premise.
But hang on. We're pretending that Donald Trump isn't also a traitor to his class. Like, we're pretending that Donald Trump isn't a populist who goes and does these huge rallies with like 15,000 people and just shit talks people for an hour. You know, he just stands there waving his hands and mocking people. Like this Joe Biden joke the other day was actually legit amazing.
I saw that. It was hilarious.
I was just like, shit, Donald. You know, good.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all this video can be summarized with the fake consciousness trick that the socialists are putting. It's like, if you criticize things that we don't want you to criticize, then you're wrong by default. Like, we are the ones that are right. And if you either talk about other problems that we're interested, or you talk about the problems we are interested, but from a different point of view, you're just flat out wrong. And it's not only that, you're an enemy to the people.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, if you're not accepting Muhammad as the one true prophet, then you're just a dhimmi. And that means you're wrong.
Yeah, but this is worse than that. It's not that you're a dhimmi, you're a heretic, okay? Because you're hurting the working class, you're hurting the people, you're manipulating, you're manipulating society, and you're pushing them away from the revolution. You're an enemy. That's literally why they hate Tucker Carlson. It's like he has a different worldview than they do.
He stops people from becoming commies. What a bastard.
Yes.
It's like, you're going to have to tell us what your argument is. It's like, we get it. You don't like Tucker Carlson. You're going to have to try and convince us.
But that's the point, isn't it?
Like a bad person or something.
Well, that's the point.
Wrong.
It's all sort of like a character attack. based in Marxist theory. None of it is addressing the actual arguments Tucker is making. We haven't even heard the arguments he's making. They've been clipped out.
Oh, but not even that. Like they're lying about them, right? Like it's almost like as if he one day got upset that there are racist.
No, well, yeah.
It's not that like an entire community was pissed off that they're cutting the trees for.
Yeah. Don't suggest that talking about your lunacy is our lunacy, you fucking idiot.
Of Americans. For now, those leaders will have to be Republicans. There's no option at this point.
Tucker Carlson is...
Honestly, I agree with Tucker. Like, have you seen the Democrats, dude? Like,
they cray.
You're promoting commies. Like you are commies, it seems. They're everywhere.
That's why Cortez is gonna do more damage to you than you realize.
Her ratings are really low at the moment as well. Like
public
approval.
Man, she's batshit insane.
Yeah. And, it's the right-wing media, Smith. No, it's because you keep saying shit.
Like, no, she's insane. Have you listened to her?
Oh,
she's
great.
crazy nutso.
Yeah, this is the thing. Republicans, you do not have to be afraid of Cortez. She is the best thing to happen to you for fucking years.
Oh, and the best part is she's young and she'll be around forever.
And, oh god, like she's gonna rack up such a long list of dumb things.
She's gonna be the crazy uncle who's just around.
Yeah, she'll replace Bernie. Like, when Bernie dies, she'll replace him.
Isn't a populist, he's a safety valve. A way to make sure that if the hungry peasants in the village get angry,
they don't take it out on the party giving tax cuts to him or his multi-billionaire
and
boss.
Them.
Man, this is
and them as well.
No, but this little soy boy is absolutely right. Yes, Tucker Carlson is a safety valve that is going to help prevent a communist revolution. That's correct. That's
but it's
absolutely
astonishing.
correct.
The tactics they're accusing of Tucker of doing, like you see the left do all the time. It's like, oh, it's white men to blame, so that you don't really blame the politicians. Like in Britain with the grooming gangs, right? Like they try to divert that, so you don't blame the politicians that actually allowed it to happen. That were in control of the police and all of that. So they're like, oh, no, the grooming grounds is because of institutionalized
Tommy Robinson,
racism.
Islamophobia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like this is the tactics they keep doing. So the villagers, how did they put it? The villagers of the town don't rise up against.
No, but hang on, like and the thing more as well. Like he's presupposing that a communist revolution would just be a good thing, right? And think about what the term safety valve means. Safety valve means having your grievances addressed. That's what the safety valve is. And it's like, well,
you have to let out a little so the whole thing doesn't go kaput.
Yeah, but exactly. Like, if people have a problem, they deserve to have, in a representative democracy, they deserve to have that problem addressed. And there is actually a cultural force called political correctness that prevents these things from being addressed. And Tucker is actually going against the sort of the mainstream of this to try and address these grievances. And he's like, that's a safety valve. So yes, people getting their problems fixed or ameliorated to some degree is going to prevent a revolution. I am so sorry, carrier. Little commie.
Only 2 DDs. Let's go right.
Distant for about 70.
Besides, if we do get to do it in this game, and if I do the voiceover over this game, it's gonna be funny. Because I'm definitely gonna be making a joke about that BB forbidden passage. No carrier. Only 2 DDs. Let's go right. Besides, if we do get to do it in this game, and if I do the voiceover over this game, it's gonna be funny. Because I'm definitely gonna be making a joke about that BB forbidden passage.
Alle Stationen, melde Position eines strategischen Ziels.
Oops. A plane. Huh. Okay. I don't like these odds. Really? 3 overpens and a ricochet.
Boost des moteurs désactivé. Союзники, сфокусировать огонь на цели.
Two ricochets. Am I shooting blanks? No, we are rank 2 with 1 star, but we need 1 kill. For the ring mission. That is so freaking annoying. We're just wasting time. Now the Zao will be torping again. Everywhere. Yep. Okay, so let's... Everywhere. Yep. Okay, so let's try. Yeah, and see, suck a dick. Let's try and cut off the Zao, so he can't actually retreat. If we get to kill him... Oh fuck, if the Aki fired the torps though... Shitty dispersion. Absolutely shitty dispersion. Reload, reload, reload. Oh, you're gonna try to reverse? I thought he was gonna try to rush and torp me. Then let's go. Go, 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 go. Ah, damn it, he's closing angles. Seems like the Aki can't hurt us anymore. Nice. And if you are going down, which you are,
concentrate fire on the designated target.
Then screw Richelieu. Let's take this guy down. Which did a very stupid maneuver to come back, and that's our 5th kill. So mission accomplished. That should be mission accomplished. And now let's find that NC, which was kind of YOLOing here. Punishing Zao feels good, man. Oh yes, it does. I absolutely agree. I do have a very long bow. And that is a bit tricky if this happens. Yeah. Oh boy, this is gonna hurt. I have 54k. Bad dispersion though. Got lucky. Wait, we get to shoot one more. We do reload a lot faster than he does. Go. Go, 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 go. There we go. Damage one of his guns. Flambus, I'll enter from the rear. Okay, bro. Whatever you say. In the rear with the gear. Oh, that was so funny. Oh, he's not looking. YOLO. YOLO. His guns are not ready. Go, 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 go. You dead. Supplies, butter trucker! He got in from the rear for sure.
Boost des moteurs désactivé.
Boost des moteurs désactivé. Commandier. Okay, now we got a Baltizar or Richelieu in front of us. If they focus me, I'm not gonna live long, I'm afraid. And here we go. There's the first fire. Back door. Oh, what is that camp fest over there? For real, boys? Punishing Zaos this game, apparently. Oh, it's Jean... what is it? Jean-Jacques... Fuck, what is the Frenchie called? I forgot. We have a name. Shit! Jean-Pierre! Yeah, that's the one. It's Jean-Pierre. What is this? I'm surrounded by Zao. Zao's freaking everywhere.
Alerte incendie.
Oh, it feels good. It feels good. I love punishing Zaos for all the shit that ship did to me.
La victoire est à notre portée.
It really, really feels good to punish people in their zows. You're surrounded, yeah. If that was a citadel and he blew up, that'd be awesome.
La victoire est à notre portée.
Oh, that dispersion is just terrible. Dreadful.
On a détruit un croiseur.
Oh my god! Wow! This game! How does this game even work? I cannot believe this. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Problème résolu, chef.
Unreal. Unfucking real. Oh my god! I failed to kill the 3000 HP with a good dispersion, but I killed a dude with absolutely terrible dispersion on 15k. Okay. Well, that's it considering heals. Oh, that looks good. 3 ricochets, okay. Is that the same Richelieu that ran off here? Yeah. By the way, has information been given out on which community contributor is out in the first round? I'm not sure how interesting and entertaining this game is going to be to watch.
Boost des moteurs désactivé.
And will I be forced to use it to use this match? But on the news article, so they did say it. All right.
Tourelle principale sérieusement endommagée.
The game ended. Well, I know Slayer, who's out. I was just wondering if it was presented to the public.
勝利は目前です。
these things from being addressed, and Tucker is actually going against the sort of the mainstream of this to try and address these grievances. And he's like, that's a safety valve. So yeah, yes, people getting their problems fixed or ameliorated to some degree is going to prevent a revolution. I am so sorry, little commie.
So sorry, little commie.
100% his bitch. Whatever Mr. Murdoch says, I do. I would be honored if he would cane me the way I cane my workers.
Yeah, that's obviously a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Notice everyone's laughing?
Yeah.
Yeah, socialist.
That's called humor.
You know what I think? I think they know it's a joke.
Perhaps you've heard of it.
I genuinely think they know it's a joke, but they also know that they just need a reason to rile up their fan base, so they're going to use jokes as if they're serious. And
well, this whole thing is made... I mean, this whole thing is
propaganda
for people who are primed to want to believe it. I mean...
Yeah. It's red meat for their audience.
Yeah.
My servant.
Listen to the radio host. Yeah. Like, he's saying this in public because it's so ridiculous. He obviously doesn't, and they obviously don't.
He's a phony. And if that sounds harsh...
Alright, sounds...
Tucker Carlson, I'm a very rich person.
Need a reason to rile up their fan base. So...
Yes, Tucker Carlson is a safety valve that is going to help prevent a communist revolution. That's correct. That's
but it's
absolutely
astonishing.
Correct.
The tactics they're accusing of Tucker of doing, like you see the left do all the time. It's like, oh, it's white men to blame, so that you don't really blame the politicians. You know, like in Britain with the grooming gangs, right?
Yeah.
Like they try to divert that, so you don't blame the politicians that actually allowed it to happen. You know, that were in control of the police and all of that. So they're like, oh, no. The grooming grounds is because of institutionalized
Tommy Robinson,
racism.
Islamophobia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like this is the tactics they keep doing. So the villagers, how did they put it? The villagers of the town don't rise up against.
No, but well, hang on, like and the thing more as well. Like he's presupposing that a communist revolution would just be a good thing, right? And I mean, think about what the term safety valve means. Safety valve means having your grievances addressed. That's what the safety valve is. And it's like, well,
you have to let out a little so the whole thing doesn't go kaput.
Yeah, but exactly. Like, if people have a problem, they deserve to have, in a representative democracy, they deserve to have that problem addressed. And there is actually a cultural force called political correctness that prevents these things from being addressed. And Tucker is actually going against the sort of the mainstream of this to try and address these grievances. And he's like, that's a safety valve. So yeah, yes, people getting their problems fixed or ameliorated to some degree is going to prevent a revolution. I am so sorry, little commie.
So sorry, little commie.
100% his bitch. Whatever Mr. Murdoch says, I do. I would be honored if he would cane me the way I cane my workers.
Yeah, that's obviously a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Notice everyone's laughing?
Yeah.
Yeah, socialist.
That's called humor.
You know what I think? I think they know it's a joke.
Perhaps you've heard of it.
I genuinely think they know it's a joke, but they also know that they just need a reason to rile up their fan base, so they're going to use jokes as if they're serious. And
well, this whole thing is made... I mean, this whole thing is
propaganda.
for people who are primed to want to believe it. I mean...
Yeah. It's red meat for their audience.
Yeah.
My servant.
Listen to the radio host. Yeah. Like... He's saying this in public because it's so ridiculous. He obviously doesn't, and they obviously don't.
He's a phony. And if that sounds harsh...
Well, this whole thing is made... I mean, this whole thing is for people who are primed to want to believe it. I mean...
Yeah. It's red meat for their audience.
Yeah.
My servant.
Listen to the radio host. Yeah. Like... He's saying this in public because it's so ridiculous. He obviously doesn't, and they obviously don't.
He's a phony. And if that sounds harsh...
Alright, sounds...
Tucker Carlson, I'm a very rich person. You're a phony.
No, you're not.
You just sat here for 8 minutes painting him as a rich man. Like, you know he's not a phony. He is actually exactly what he claims to be. Like, what more do you want from the man, you know? I guess to lose all his money.
Sorry for interrupting, but Richard Dawkins just tweeted this out. National pride has evil consequences. Prefer pride.
Shut up, old man.
Prefer pride in humanity. German pride gave us Hitler. America pride gave us Trump. British gave us pride, gave us Brexit.
Oh, more American pride then.
If you must have pride, be proud that Homo sapiens could produce a Darwin, Shakespeare, Mandela, Einstein, or Beethoven.
Well, isn't that interesting how different nations produce different kinds of national expression in national pride? In Germany, it became Hitler, but in America, it's Trump, and in England, in Britain, it's Brexit. So they're not all the same, Richard. There are demonstrable
pride.
Yeah, there are demonstrable differences there, old guy, and like some are better than others.
But I can explain national pride. The idea is that if the nation does well, chances are I will do well. But if the nation does poorly, chances are I will do poorly.
Well, I'm telling you, you only say that because you live in the nation.
It's like, imagine lumping them all in together. Like Hitler based his German pride off of like race. And I'm like, it was like, what if you just don't base your national pride off of race?
Yeah, I mean the EU wants you to have EU pride. Like they're not against that.
And they want to be a nation state, a super state. So, yeah, they're. I'll tell you what, man, the people for the EU are hyper nationalists. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, like I see them wrapping around themselves with the EU flag and like fetishizing it. It's just. Yeah.
So Strawman says no one fears AOC. People on the right love her because she's insane. People on the left love her because they are insane. Yeah, I think that is becoming more true. But I think a lot of right wingers were very scared by her initially.
She was new. She came out of nowhere. She had all this
a storm of
behind
energy
her,
behind
and they didn't really know how to deal with it. I think.
Yeah. It took a while for them to neutralize her.
Neutralize.
And then they were like, "Oh, it's just a loud noise. I'm okay now."
Everything they're accusing him of applies to them. Yes, that's correct. Did you read my Chenk Love Child super chat? No, I didn't. I'll find it in a second. Sorry. Have you checked out Heinrich Johnson, the YouTuber I emailed you about? By the way, why does Hassan look like Chenk and Stephen Crowder's love child? I don't know, but I haven't checked out the YouTuber, and Hassan is Chenk's nephew. Christian values under a liberal system would be the best society. Fight me on it. I don't know. What's wrong with that? Tucker is best at left-wing economists. That's why they're mad. He named almost everybody on Earth that he barely knows as an atheist, and I love Tucker. Yeah, I'm an atheist, and I think Tucker's great. I think he's doing a really good job. He's addressing the real issues.
It's not only that, I'm also into utilitarianism. Like, even if Tucker was like hardcore against atheists, the fact that he's treating other problems like he's exposing the world to the leftist lunacy is like, okay, you know what? I disagree with him on his view on atheism, but I would still support him because he has usefulness in other positions.
Mate, that's why I support the Muslim mums trying to get LGBTQ stuff out of the classroom for 5-year-olds. Yeah, 5-year-olds don't need to be learning about gay relationships. Go Muslim mums, you know.
Yeah, I mean the thing with the Muslims, and I want to make a point. It's like I actually agree with them. They said, I send my kid to school to learn about math, science, and history, and I'm going to teach my kid at home about culture. Yeah. And you know what? Like that is like the right of a parent to educate the kid how he wants. And if you don't like how they educate their kids, well, you can criticize them for it. But you shouldn't force the government to just indoctrinate children at the age of 5 and 6 into like transgender issues and stuff. Yeah. That's not the mandate of the government.
It shouldn't be anyway.
Don't take it from me. Take it from Tucker Carlson.
I mean, and plus, like, when it comes to being an atheist, most people, especially in like American society and politics, there's like no atheists. We're just used to dealing with religious people. I mean, if it was an end-all be-all, then we would just never go.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of atheists in American politics. It's just that they wouldn't say it. Like, they wouldn't come out and... do you think Hillary Clinton is a Christian?
I don't care.
You know,
she's probably not, though. She's being all fairness. But yeah, I will literally take Tucker Carlson at his word when he says, I'm not a man of the people, I'm an elitist, but I'm very concerned about the social fabric of my nation. And I think that maybe I have a responsibility to the people who I'm not one of, as part of the elite, to listen to their concerns, which he seems to actually be doing, Mr. Smug Leftist. Like, you can sit there and say, gotcha, Tucker Carlson. But honestly, I just agree with him more after you've tried to use Marxism to debunk him. I'm so sorry.
In 2003, talking about Bill O'Reilly, the man whose Fox News slot he would one day take over.
I think there's kind of a deep phony of
shtick, because it's sort of built on this perception that he is the character he plays. He is every man, this kind of, he's not right-wing, he's a populist, fighting for you against the powers that be. And that's great as a shtick, but I'm just saying the moment that it's revealed not to be true, it's over, right? Because the whole thing is predicated on the fact that he is who he says he is, and just nobody is that person, especially not someone who makes $1 million, you know, many millions a year.
Okay.
Yeah, but
the thing is, like, when Tucker Carlson is saying these things, it's hard to say that Tucker Carlson is not saying these things. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't see what, like, I don't really see what the issue is here.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe that makes me an evil right-winger, fake populist, whatever, but what I'm hearing him saying, that doesn't seem to be an issue to me. If that's how he feels about Bill Riley, then, I mean, he seems to be honest. I mean, well, Tucker Carlson seems to be honest.
He's saying these things in public. It's not like he said it behind a closed door.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally demonstrate that he's a liar of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally telling us, well, look, you know, we're not men of the people.
I mean, are these people so adverse and unused to honesty that they assume?
No. It's the left doesn't have empathy and they're projecting, right? So the left doesn't believe if you're a...
No. It's more than that. I think what it is, right, is the left is very focused on performativity, and so they think that if they perform X in public, then that effectively makes them that thing in the eyes of the public, right? And that's why you get the, like, journalist, which Ezra Klein, in fact, created, where they sit there saying, oh, we're going to smear Bernie Sanders as an atheist or whatever, and all this sort of shit. It's all this sort of, like, they are very conscious of the front that they're putting on, but Tucker is, like, talking the backroom talk in public, and they think they've got him on that, and it's like...
Well, no, it's also like if you're not a black person, you can't talk about black people at all. You know, it's like mansplaining. If you're not a woman, you can't talk about women issues. They basically say you can't have empathy unless you're X. Like, unless you're a cancer patient and you're a doctor, you can't say cancer is bad. You need to have cancer yourself in order to experience cancer, and only then can you talk about cancer.
Yeah, I know, but like that front that they're putting on there, right? They would then, if you see their private conversations, they actually say it as it is, like they've got Tucker doing here again, once again on TV. You know, so it's not a secret, but it's their secret conversations that they think Tucker is like he's given the game away. Oh, here we go. See, Tucker admits that he's an elitist. Yeah, okay. He's telling us the truth. Why don't you guys tell us the truth? Oh no, we're the real populists.
That's hard.
Are you ready? So yeah, I think we're virtually at the end here. So. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's a shameful lineup of people who made this.
I wouldn't want my name attached to it.
Who was the guy?
Yeah, but we have
Carlos Maza. But yeah, so that's Vox's latest hit piece on Tucker Carlson.
They got him. He's going down.
Yeah, they got him.
Well, they're getting him by just pressuring companies to pull out. Like that. There's over like 400 companies that already pulled out from his advertisements. Like it's a massive effort. There's a lot of energy going in.
Yeah, but you'll end up with loads of Chick-fil-A ads.
Chick-fil-A ads.
Those just
yeah. Tucker's star at Apex at the moment.
A slot open for more chicken sandwiches. We'll take 20.
Right, let me go through.
It's not like gourmet American food, but it's good.
Well, it's fast food, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the ideology.
It's fast food, but it's not like bad fast food. Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's the ideology of the purchase. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, you hate gays?
No, I hate. Sorry, I love pissing off leftists. So if leftists are like, "Oh, boycott Chick-fil-A," then I will buy what they want me to boycott. You know, I don't care what it is.
Yeah, it's just that I really like pissing off the leftists.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Right, let me go through these super chats so I can end the stream. I've seen this idiot get debunked by Crowder 3 times now. I swear those moles are a part of a large tumor that have eaten up half his brain. Can neither confirm nor deny. Tucker warned Shapiro about people punishing you with populism, so this is consistent. Yeah, exactly. And I think I do think that Tucker's matured quite a lot in recent years, and he's gained a different perspective on things to most conservatives. Bubba the Love Sponge is a radio host in my area. His highest rated program at its peak was called Redneck Mondays. What do they expect on a Howard Sternish radio show? Well, yeah, I mean, there is that it was a comedy show as well, a shock jock show. But I mean, all Tucker did was be honest. Rip Harambe sipping on some Bombay # Mars Gorilla. Heinlein was 99.99999% right about social sciences ruining America. No, he's 100% right. Social sciences, it's the fantasy that we can plan the perfect society. We can't plan it. It's a silly thing to think. It's not going to work. What do you all expect the outcome of PewDiePie vs T-Series battle and the larger war it represents for individual content providers online? I think T-Series will win just because the numbers are against PewDiePie. What do you guys think?
Well, it's not the fair playing field, is it? Like, if you're an Indian and you make a YouTube account, you get subscribed to T-Series, you know? And I think Google wants the #1 YouTuber to be a corporation because corporations love working with other corporations. Well, like, corporations won't say the N-word in Fortnite. Yeah. So they just get...
Corporations don't make Holocaust jokes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, like, YouTube would very much prefer having T-Series as the #1. And honestly, if PewDiePie was like #4 or 5, I think he would have been having his channel terminated by now with all the media pressure on him, like the Wall Street Journal. And,
but the thing is as well, like T-Series, they're part of like a big Bollywood conglomerate, effectively, aren't they? They own all the music in Bollywood or whatever. So they're not making the stuff themselves. Other people are making it and they put it on their channels. You know, PewDiePie is making all the content personally. So. You know, there's no way he can win in the grand scheme of things, but it's nice to see him. Let me just check, actually.
But it's also like the mentality of it. Like, the average Joe can become the best at something. Like, you can become the best YouTuber. You can become like PewDiePie. It's not a corporation.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, PewDiePie doesn't put that money into editing.
Right,
he doesn't put that much money.
So PewDiePie is actually 330,000 ahead of T-Series now. I don't know how this has happened.
Yeah, he got a big boost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it's something to do with the fact that he made a video like aimed at T-Series, and I wonder if that like got picked up by the algorithm in India or something, just because of the name of it. But man, he's been getting huge amounts of subscribers in the past couple of days.
I think he lost a lot of subscribers after the Charlottesville debacle, but now a lot of people are realizing that it was stupid to unsub and they're subbing again.
Where did that happen? I don't see.
Well, you know, like the subscribe to PewDiePie thing, like the mainstream media made a big deal out of it, even though it's obvious that saying subscribe to PewDiePie would give him international coverage. So, you know, like people are just resubbing now. That's my theory, at least. Because all of a sudden he got like a big influx of people coming back.
Well, well, I don't know if they're coming back because I don't see where they're unsubscribing. I don't think there's been a mass unsubscribe, but I mean, like he's been getting huge influx recently, and I do wonder if it's about that video because it's like for the past 3 days he's had well over 200,000 per day, and normally he was getting about 100,000 a day. And what day is it that he did the T-Series? Congratulations, T-Series. Hang on, let me just check. Because it's been... So on the Sunday... No, it was on the Monday he put out a video.
Sargon, when are you going to reach 1 million subs?
Whenever. You just go look up the projections.
Aren't you a little bit intimidated by it? Like,
what's the difference between 930 and 1 million subs?
The golden play button, I guess,
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
the status.
No,
but
exactly.
no, like, did you ever think you would be that high?
No, obviously not. So this is the first.
Let's see the future projections.
Yeah, it was this congratulations T-Series one was 3 days ago, and that was the spiciest video in the world. Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he literally makes a Nazi genocide joke in it, and then he just calls him out on, like, all of this shit, and it's like, man. And that got 39 million views, right? That's why. That's why. His other videos getting, like, you know, between 6 and 12 sort of thing. And this one 39 million. Fucking hell. Fucking that must have been seen in India by people. Like, I reckon. But yeah, so good luck, PewDiePie. Is all I'm saying. I desperately want you to win, but I don't think you're going to. In the end, I don't think it's sustainable because they're a giant corporation with thousands of employees or whatever. They're going to win.
And the fact that they've already got YouTube to automatically subscribe new Indian accounts to them is like they have the system's working for them already. It's obvious.
So the fact that he's 300,000 in the lead is fucking impressive, though. But right, I think I'm caught up. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us. 3,500 people just watch us bitch about Marxists, complaining about Tucker Carlson. But yeah, so yeah, have a good evening, everyone, and thanks for watching. And remember to go and subscribe to Rags and V. So both channels.
Yes, we're live, Ben Shapiro.
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Very good. How's it going with you, man?
It's going well. I love the new digs.
Thank you.
I haven't been here since you finished it over, and I walked in. I thought to myself, I've been doing my business for all the time. I mean, you got what, 3 employees?
Yeah, there's not that many folks working on this.
Yeah, I mean, so in my offices, we have like 80, and our offices are not nearly this cool. So I'm going to go back to my office and fire everyone, and then have your folks come in and design because, I mean, it's either a lot of people or I could have cars in my office.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go down this route. You're more of a conservative gentleman than myself. Look at you. You're wearing a suit jacket. You're your own boss. Nobody tells you how to dress, and yet you dress like a grown-up.
Yeah, well, you know, I won't pretend that nobody tells me how to dress. We have people who tell me how to dress. We have people who do my hair.
Do you have all that stuff? You have like fashion folks? And
yeah, because I used to. I mean, if you look at the old photos of me, I have like the Hitler hair. I've got like the hair. That's the only thing about me that's Hitlerian was my old hair, and I've got the hair that kind of comes down over the forehead. And I still walk into the office wearing basically an undershirt every day because I'm incredibly
consistent for about.
You should be able to.
Yeah, I mean that's the prerogative of being the boss.
Maybe it'd be more relatable. Maybe if you showed up wearing like flip flops and t-shirt.
That kind of kills my brand, though. No,
does it?
Like,
what is your brand exactly?
I thought it was being an asshole.
I don't think you're an asshole, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a very nice guy. You're just conservative.
That's the dirty little secret, though.
Yeah,
right? We're not supposed to talk about that.
But this is one of the things that bothers me so much about you being so misrepresented. When I read things about you, there was the article that we were just talking about, the alt-right sage without the rage, they called you, and you're not even remotely alt-right. In fact, you were the leading target of anti-Semitic abuse for all of 2016, weren't you?
Yeah, according to the Anti-Defamation League, which is no ally of mine. So, yeah, I mean, not only am I not alt-right, I've spent the last 4 years like legitimately battling the alt-right, talking about how evil I think their ideology is, how evil I think white supremacy is. I mean, first of all, like, people with yarmulkes, typically not the favorites of the alt-right. And then beyond that, I mean, I think their ideology is legitimately a devastatingly awful twist on what Western civilization is supposed to be. What's amazing is a review of my new book, and my new book has several sections in there dedicated to how terrible the alt-right is. And then the interview they did with me doesn't talk about alt-right stuff at all, but they just assume I'm on the conservative right. That must mean that I am alt-right. And it's like, no, you stupid...
That's the problem with these labels. They're disingenuous. People are labeling people in a very simple manner to try to categorize them as the enemy. And instead of just addressing these points, like I love watching your debates where you do Q&As with college students and with people in the audience, because you can see you agree with you or disagree with you. You have well-formulated ideas. This isn't just some bullshit that you're spouting out. You've thought these things through.
I mean, I've been doing this for legitimately more than half my life. I'm 35, and I started when I was 17, and I started writing a syndicated column at that point. And when you're 17, you think a lot of dumb stuff, and then you get older, and you educate yourself, and you spend a lot of time reading and a lot of time studying. Hopefully, you have some cogent arguments after 20 years of doing anything. I mean, but it's the demonization is pretty astonishing. I mean, we had on Andrew Yang. He's the only Democratic candidate who has agreed to go on the Sunday special that I do. We did a full hour on UBI. It was perfectly nice. It was perfectly coherent and conciliatory. And yet people will suggest that everything I do is about destroying people on the other side because of all the Ben Shapiro destroys videos and all that kind of stuff.
There are certain groups of people where that's their shtick. They're goons, right? They just go after people online for attention.
Yep.
This is a shtick. This is not you, and this is what bothers me so much. And I know that you've said some things in the past, like particularly about Arabs, and like when you were a younger man, that you said, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Some of those things were taken out of context, like that one particular tweet, which is a bad tweet, was a tweet that was part of a tweet thread in which I was specifically contrasting Israel and the Hamas leadership and saying that the Israeli government likes to build, and the Hamas leadership would prefer that their citizens live in sewage and bomb things. But that was a bad tweet, obviously.
Yeah.
My entire history on Muslim relations is one, like I supported the ability of Ilhan Omar to wear a hijab on the floor. I opposed President Trump's originally proposed Muslim ban. In the last 3 weeks, I've had on Majid Nawaz, I've had on Kanta Ahmed, I had on yesterday a reform Muslim. Like, these are conversations that have to be had, but to take, this is one of the things that bugs me so much. I've tweeted, I think, 140,000 times. I've written millions of words. I'm sure you can find something I don't even remember having written that is bad. I have a running list, by the way. I try to be honest about this. I'm one of the only people I know who has, I have a running list. It's called, so here's a giant list of all the dumb stuff I've ever done. Right. And I actually go through all this, like, you can look it up. This is not me saying this now. I mean, you can go and look up all the things that I think I've done wrong, and I'll apologize for some, and I'll say some were dumb, and I'll say some I'm fine with, and you're just taking out of context, but I mean, I hope that's what honest people try to do.
But this is the problem. You're not dealing with honest people. When people try to categorize you as all right, or they're trying to put you into this category of internet goon, they're quote tweet, they're just taking some little tiny phrase that you said 7 years ago and trying to say, this is you now. That's such a disingenuous thing to do.
I hate it, and I hate it across the aisle, by the way. Like, I was a defender of James Gunn. I thought James Gunn shouldn't have been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
over the old tweets. I thought that
they were
was bullshit.
just dumb jokes.
Right, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And even if somebody tweeted something bad like 10 years ago, bringing it up now is not an attempt to actually make the public space better. And you're not actually offended by that thing the person tweeted 10 years ago that you didn't notice. What it is that you want to get rid of this person or hurt this person. So you're going to bring up something from 10 years ago, and then you're going to try and club them into submission with it. Because if you actually ask them their opinion about it, they might have a more nuanced view on what they said. Maybe they apologize. Yeah. Maybe they think, I don't even remember saying that. Right. I mean, I felt the same way, by the way. I try to be consistent. I really do about this stuff. I said the same thing about, for example, Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, who was excoriated for having this terrible racist photo on his yearbook page back in medical school in 1987. And people were saying, well, this is evidence he's racist now. It's like, well, no, that's evidence that he was doing a racist thing then. That's not evidence that he is racist now. You sort of have to look over the broad course of his career. And he ended up doing what everyone now does, which is you just don't apologize for anything. You just try to pass it off as a nothing. The public space is actually getting worse because let's say that you did something bad in the past. There are a few human responses, too. I did something I don't like in the past. Human response number one is, you know what? I apologize. That was wrong. These days, that gets your face stepped on. Right? You say, I apologize. I was wrong. It means, well, why did you do it in the first place? Because you're a bad person. Apologies are not accepted. And then number two is you brazen it out. You do the Trump. You know, well, I'm perfect. Right? And then you get your defenders to come and surround you. And then nothing ever gets cleansed. Or opportunity number three is you do what Barack Obama did, which is you come out preemptively and you try to remember all the bad stuff you do, and then you confess it in public. So in Dreams from My Father, he says, right, well, you know, and everybody's like, oh, okay, so he did cocaine when he was in high school. That's cool. Whereas if it comes out during the campaign, then he's boned, right? Then he's got a real problem. Is that right now, even if you preemptively come out and say I did something wrong, like for example, Liam Neeson talking about years ago when he had a racist thought that he didn't act on, when he had a racist thought. This is now, we're going to try and ruin your career for something that you admit was bad, that you did 30 years ago. We're going to try and ruin you over that. If you apologize for something that you did 30 years ago, which you would have preferred, just got forgotten because it was embarrassing and stupid, then we say you're bad. It's like the most shameless people in the world who are in the public space, right? The incentive structure is to be deeply shameless, to just say, yeah, man, I own that, and it was great when I said it. Or I didn't say it at all, and you're just full of it. I never said that stuff. You know, who are you gonna believe? Your eyes or me? And it makes for a really bad politics.
Well, it's just this the culture of going after people finding anything to categorize them as someone who's a viable target. And this is what I've seen thrust your way. It's like, there's nothing wrong with being conservative. There's something wrong with wanting everyone to think the way you think, though. This is the difference. Like, what I like that you do is you debate your points, you state your positions, you have a philosophy. And what I don't like is when people try to pretend that that philosophy is somehow hateful or somehow regressive or that you condemn people for their thoughts. You don't. This is not what I see with you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the accuracy, because I think that's true. I mean, I've come out against virtually every Twitter ban, including people who have personally targeted me. I've come out against that. I've come out against virtually every YouTube
let's
ban.
talk about that, because what are your thoughts about this idea of deplatforming? And, you know, this is something that we were just discussing before the podcast, where the CEO of YouTube and Kara Swisher's
from Recode, I think.
Kara Swisher, they were talking about removing you from YouTube, and I thought it was the CEO of YouTube. It was actually Kara who said, I would if I could.
Yeah, she was pissed because her son apparently listens to
That's kind of funny if she's being funny saying I can't, but I thought it was the CEO of YouTube.
No, she was trying to imply that she was trying to do the same thing that they do with you or with Dave Rubin or Jordan Peterson, which is that anybody who is sort of heterodox, because in that group I think I'm the only registered Republican, anybody who's heterodox is now being portrayed as meaning just thinks differently from kind of the down the line Democratic Party platform. You're not like down the line with Hillary. You're like Sam Harris is a Democrat. Sam Harris is heterodox because he disagrees that Islam is by necessity a religion of peace, for example.
Right.
Or he thinks that we have to look at actual statistics in order to make evidentiary-based points about discrimination and disparity.
Mm-hmm.
And this makes him an enemy of people like Ezra Klein at Vox.com, right? This sort of stuff, they then say that you're a feeder for white supremacy, right? They can't actually get you on what you say.
Yeah.
So it turns into, well, you know, some members of your audience do things that are really bad. It's like, well, dude, I have like millions of people who are members of my audience. I have 5 million Facebook followers. I have 2 million on Twitter, and you're way bigger than I am. I assume that some of those people are going to be crazy.
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, the idea that you're responsible. Well, this is what YouTube tried to do, you know, about the comment thing, where YouTube was going to try to make people responsible for the comments in their videos, which, what is a normal, Jamie, like a normal video that we get, how many comments does it get?
10,000. That's like an average one.
How the fuck? How the fuck? Am I supposed to have some dude with his itchy trigger finger standing by in front of a keyboard just waiting for something offensive to pop up? And this was in response to something that happened with them, where there was pedophiles who were watching videos of children doing things, and they were commenting stuff in the, you know, like the children's gymnastics and stuff like that. They were commenting and like communicating with each other through the comments, and it was sort of discovered that there was this connection, that they were doing this in many videos, and YouTube rightly panicked. They're like, holy shit, we have to stop this. So the response, I guess, was we just have to make people responsible for their comments. Someone said, oh yeah, good idea. Like, you didn't think through it at all.
Right. You know,
that's certain people that can't do that.
It's totally insane, and it's insane in virtually every respect. And it's funny how it's only applied kind of by the media on one side of the aisle. So to take an example, a congressional baseball shooting happens a couple of years ago. Guy happens to be a Bernie fan. Is that Bernie Sanders' fault?
Right.
No, exactly. That is not Bernie Sanders' fault.
That went away.
Right.
Literally, people stopped talking about it.
And that was shooting of legislators, like elected people.
Yeah.
One nearly died, and that kind of went away. We didn't talk about, you know, Bernie's responsibility, but there's a shooting in Christchurch, and it's Jordan Peterson's fault. And Jordan Peterson has no relationship with the shooter whatsoever. It's my fault. I have no relationship with the shooter, and denounce everything that piece of crap stands for. And suddenly, it's really ugly, and it will come home to roost. I mean, here's what's going to happen: is Facebook and YouTube are going to fall prey to their own standards. Because if their standard is that you're responsible for your followers, or I'm responsible for my followers, or Jordan or anybody else is responsible for all the people who view their stuff, okay, then why isn't Facebook responsible for all the people posting on its platform? If they are responsible for all the people posting on its platform, they'll be bankrupt in a week. They've got a problem. They have to decide whether they are a platform or whether they are a do-gooder publication.
Yeah.
Right? I run a publication, Daily Wire. It's openly conservative. We make no bones about that. And we are responsible for the content that we put. And if we say something say something that is false, if you post something false, Facebook doesn't get sued. But now Facebook has deemed itself a morality police, and they'll ban people they don't like, and they'll decide what editorially Or does that sound more like my website, where I decide what gets published and what doesn't, right? Because Facebook's case for exemption from these laws is, well, we're like the phone company, right? When you're on the phone with somebody, if that person says you're a criminal, AT&T isn't responsible for the person saying something criminal or terrible. It's just the phone company.
Right.
But Facebook isn't doing that. Facebook is jumping into the middle of conversations and then saying, well, we don't really like this conversation, so we're just going to kind of shut it down. Not because of legal threat, but because we just don't like it.
So are they actually doing that? Like, say if you put a post up on Facebook and they don't like the way you worded things or described things, will they actually shut down the post?
So they've done it in the past. They're not transparent at all.
Right.
I can tell you that at the beginning of 2018, we lost about 35% of our traffic because Facebook started cracking down on mostly conservative sites generally, but that's not what the statistics showed. They're doing it more often with things that we all sort of agree are bad, right? We all agree white supremacy is bad, white nationalism is bad. Now they say they're going to censor that stuff, but here's where I'm uncomfortable. I think that stuff is awful and evil, and I think those people are the ones, they're the reason I have personal security. But once you get into the business of Facebook gets to decide which speech is good and which speech is bad, they're an editor.
Yeah.
They're an editor. Even if I agree with their assessment of what stuff is good and what is bad, I am not comfortable with them in the driver's seat there. And if they are going to be in the driver's seat, then they should be held liable for all the stuff that's on their platform. I mean, why is it Twitter, same thing, right? Why is it that Louis Farrakhan is still on that platform, but Alex Jones is not? Like, I don't like Alex Jones's material. I've been very, very critical of Alex Jones. I didn't think he should get banned from Twitter unless he actually violated the law, unless he was responsible for a violent threat, unless he was defamatory or something.
They're definitely going down this road of being the moral arbitrators. They're the ones who get to decide what the conversations are. And that's an insane responsibility. The responsibility of getting to dictate what should and should not be discussed. And to have it and have these people almost exclusively live in the Pacific. You know, San Francisco.
Exactly.
That whole tech community, I mean, it's all tech living. This really strange, wealthy bubble of super spectrum people, super capitalists, and people that are raising money all over the place, designing ideology. And it's not necessarily bad one, it's just it's incredibly progressive, which is very unusual for big business, right? They just openly, transparently progressive and pushing social justice. Very unusual.
Well, I think that there's a sort of misunderstanding of when we say what big business is, what big business is. So I think that there's a wide variety of owners of businesses and how they think about politics. Obviously,
Yeah.
Bill Gates is a progressive guy. Warren Buffett's a progressive guy.
They are now.
I think Bill Gates has been for a while.
progressive his whole life? Well, he's ruthless with Microsoft.
Well, so I think that there are a lot of people. Listen, I think that the vast majority. I think Mark Zuckerberg is ruthless with Facebook, and he's progressive. I think Jack Dorsey is as ruthless as the next guy when it comes to profit. I mean, he's still got to be answerable to his shareholders. So I think a lot of the progressivism is sort of a way to excuse your own involvement in the capitalist market.
When Facebook took off, don't be. Like, that was their thing. Don't be evil. They decided to remove that.
Yeah, it was Google, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Did I say Facebook? I'm sorry. Google. Yeah, when Google did that. I meant Google. But it's funny when you think something, but you're saying another thing. When they did that, it's like, why would you ever take off don't be evil? Like, keep that.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing. I think that if our tech companies were honest, they should take that stuff off. Like, stop pretending you're do-gooding. You're not do-gooding. You're providing a platform. And maybe the platform is the good, right? In a capitalist economy, the product that you provide is the good. I don't need additional good to come from your product, right? If you want to provide me a solid morning drink, right, I don't need your politics along with that. I just need the drink. Yeah. Well, if I want a social media company, I don't give two craps about what Mark Zuckerberg thinks about politics. Dude hasn't studied it. I don't care at all what Jack Dorsey, who vacations in Malaysia and gets bitten by 1 million mosquitoes while meditating, has to say about the nature of life. Like, why do I care about Jack Dorsey's political view? He has provided me a good. The good is this basic chat room where I'm consuming news. How about that would just be enough? But it's not enough for a lot of these folks. It's the kind of hoolie from Silicon Valley. We're going to pretend that we're here to do good. And it's not enough just to acknowledge that maybe the thing that you provided is the good. Like Bill Gates has done more good with Microsoft than he has done with any of his charities. He's given a lot of money to charity. But Microsoft has provided legitimately hundreds of thousands of jobs and created enormously productive lines of business and made enormous profit for a lot of people. A lot of people have stock in Microsoft. As a basic factual thing, he has done more good doing that than giving tens of millions of dollars to various outside causes. So it feels like a lot of the progressivism in corporate halls in Silicon Valley is bifurcated mentally. It's like people they're like dolphins. It's one side of the brain on at a time. Here's my capitalist side where I go out and make money and profit. And then here's my other side where I show people what a great person I am by proclaiming that I'm for Bernie Sanders while parking my money offshore to make sure that it's shielded from the tax man.
Yeah, well, that's a good assessment. What I'm saying is that the don't be evil thing, like, one of the things that I thought was, what if that was like a legal decision? What if, me being cynical, that they were pulled into some sort of an office and said, if we say don't be evil and you take someone off the platform, you're accusing them of evil. So
That's
maybe,
it. I mean,
maybe we should slow that down.
Maybe. I mean, again, this self-assessment of you are the moral police, I find really troubling, and it's so funny. I'm the supposed moralist, right?
Right.
I'm the religious guy. I'm the Orthodox Jew, right? I talk about social standards and how people should behave in their personal life. But when it comes to government and when it comes to me imposing my views on you, I am way less of a top-down tyrant than any of the people in Silicon Valley. I am not here to tell you that you are not allowed to be on a platform because we disagree. It's one thing if you're threatening violence, which is an actual violation of law. But this crap where people like me, because I believe in a social fabric built on certain Judeo-Christian values, but I'm not forcing you to be part of that, and I don't think the government should compel you to be a part of that, or I'm the tyrant, but the person who sits at the top of Twitter or Facebook who is saying that they get to police what you see, and they're going to nudge you in the right direction without your consent, without them even telling them what you're doing, right? They're going to push you a little bit because they know better than you, and they can sort of massage you into better views if we control your channels of information. This is something the Obama administration was very fond of. There's a scholar named Cass Sunstein. He's a legal scholar, and he wrote a book called Nudge. He was very famous. It was used as sort of a handbook during the Obama administration. And the idea was, well, if we can just use non-forcible means to sort of nudge people in a particular direction without them even knowing they're being nudged, then shouldn't we do that? And I think, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because transparency is the only way I can tell what kind of bullshit you're trying to sell me.
Well, not just that. Like you're closing down even conversation. If as soon as you're trying to silence this other voice, if you believe one thing and another person believes a different thing, you should probably talk about it. And the way that I know for sure there's something wrong with your argument is if what you're trying to do is you're sneakily trying to silence these voices. And again, as long as we're not talking about threats of violence and as long as we're not talking about harassment or doxing, we're just talking about conversation. You're just talking about people with differing points of view. If you want to silence differing points of view, I have to wonder about your intent. I have to wonder about whether you're going into this conversation with good faith. I have to wonder whether you've really objectively assessed whether or not your argument does hold up against scrutiny. Because this is also part of the problem. And when you're in an echo chamber, you often don't formulate these arguments very well. Like when you confront people about certain biased beliefs that they have, and you have an opposing belief, if they're part of a bubble, like sometimes they might not have even ever considered some of the things you have to say. And I've seen that with some of your videos.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen all the time, and with sophisticated people. I've spent my entire life, literally my entire life, in areas where everyone disagrees with me.
Yeah.
I grew up in L.A. I went to Harvard Law School for 3 years. I was in Cambridge, where everyone disagreed with me, and then I came back to L.A. So I have never spent more than a week at a time in a red state.
Have you ever, have your conservative values moved in one way or another? Have they?
I mean, I would say that
at all?
My personal values probably haven't shifted very much, but my political values have shifted libertarian. I mean, so I used to be a proponent of criminalization of marijuana. I'm no longer. I've been in favor of
what
decriminalization
changed that
of pot.
For you?
A couple of things. One was just a general sense the government sucks at everything. And the more I see the government try to crack down on things, the more prevalent it becomes. I mean, people were dealing pot on my 6th grade, 7th grade playground in public school. So obviously, like,
welcome to LA.
Yeah, exactly. And then
that's terrible.
Just a general perception, not only that the government sucks at everything, but that you got to own your own actions, and also examining more of the evidence about the impact of pot on people's lives. And you know, again, there's you ruining your own life through use of drugs, and then there's drugs that legitimately ruin other people's lives. Right? There are drugs that remove your ability to even reason or think. I think there are only two reasons to criminalize drugs in any fashion. One is if there are drugs like, for example, PCP that legitimately make you violent, and then you are going out and committing acts of violence against people. Then there's a case. Or if you're talking about a drug where it legitimately robs you of your capacity to reason. If it were heroin, if you're able to actually crack down on it successfully. But even there, I'm not sure that the proper government solution is criminalization, because we've criminalized it and it's still incredibly prevalent. So
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And I agree with you in terms of drugs being extremely detrimental. And the other part is that there's comparable drugs that are legal. Like, and comparable drugs, meaning not even really comparable, drugs that are far more devastating, like alcohol. Like, you could just go to any grocery store and buy a jug of whiskey and kill yourself with it.
Yep.
It's not difficult. You just drink the whole
we have
thing
laws
and
on
you're
the
dead.
books already that prevent externalities.
Yeah.
If you drive high, it's the same as driving drunk.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that you need additional laws to do that. And also, you know, I'm not opposed to zoning laws. Like, I don't think a pot shop should open up right next to my house, right? They're residential zoning. That's fine.
Same with liquor stores, though.
Right. I don't want a liquor store right next to my house. This is correct.
Yeah.
Right. So I've become libertarian in some ways on that sort of stuff. The same thing is true, by the way, when it comes to the issue of same-sex marriage. So on a personal moral level, I'm opposed to same-sex marriage. I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I believe that a man and a woman were made for each other. When it comes to government involvement, I don't think that's anybody's business. I think a lot of things. I think adultery is bad, too. I don't think the government ought to be involved in adultery. I'm so strict, I don't think premarital sex is a good thing, right? I've been very vocal about this. I was a virgin until I was married. My wife was a virgin until she was married. I think that's a good thing. Do I think the government has anything to do with any of those things? No, I don't. I don't think it's any of the government's business. It's consensual activity. There are no externalities. So what exactly is the government getting involved in? And when the government gets involved in stuff, then there are externalities, right? Once the government starts to cram down its vision on people, then you start to get unintended externalities. So, for example, with the legalization, my view on marriage is that the government should get completely out of the business. I don't think the government should be involved in straight marriage. I don't think it should be involved in gay marriage. I think the government should be out.
I agree 100%.
And the reason that I say that is because as a religious person, right, who believes in traditional marriage, I have two marriage certificates. I have the one from the state that I don't give two craps about. It's buried somewhere in my garage. And then I have my religious marriage certificate, which meant, among other things, that I got to shut up my wife, right? I mean, like, this was the one that mattered to me. And I think that's true for most religious people. The religious ceremony matters a lot more than the state saying a thing. And the state isn't incentivizing marriage. People aren't getting married because they're like, yeah, I need the tax break.
Right.
So that's a bunch of nonsense. And once the government decides what version of marriage it wants to push, that then comes into conflict with other values. So, for example, once the state of California decides that same-sex marriage is on legal par with heterosexual marriage, now I'm worried about the externality of I have a religious day school, or I have my synagogue. My synagogue is a religious institution. It doesn't approve of same-sex marriage. Now is the government going to come in and tell my synagogue how it ought to act with regard to same-sex marriage? I don't think that's the government's business. So how about this? How about everybody gets to do basically what they want, associate with whom they want, and it's none of the government's business? This seems like a pretty good, happy medium.
I'm so glad you talked about the two things that I wanted to talk to you about that I'm sure we disagree about. One of them being marijuana and the other one being gay people marrying each other. So let's start with the marijuana one. Do you think marijuana ruins people's lives? Is that one of your contentions?
I think that it can, and I think in the same way
alcohol
can.
Have you ever had any experience with marijuana?
No, I'm just talking about the statistical overuse of marijuana among teenagers does have detrimental brain effects that have some long-term after effects.
It's pretty proven, and that's one of the things that I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to cover that, but you were in the middle of a rant when we were joking around about 6th and 7th graders selling pot. Don't smoke pot when you're young. You really should. It's not good for the development of your brain. Same thing with drinking. You know, I didn't smoke a lot of pot when I was a kid. I did it a handful of times until I was 30 years old. But I did drink a bunch of times when I was young and in high school. And it's terrible for brain development.
Right. Especially
before you're 25 and your frontal cortex hasn't even fully formed. Your frontal lobe is like this. It's a developing thing. And there was an article recently that I posted from BBC that was saying that you probably shouldn't be considered an adult until you're 30.
Right. They're saying brain development doesn't even stop until you're 26 or 28. This is why when people are saying let's lower the voting age to 16, I'm like, what the
fuck are you talking about?
What in the world?
When I was 16, I was a chimp. You know, I mean, really, I was a chimp in a high school. Now, when the problem that I have with many people's perceptions on marijuana is that it's based on ignorance, meaning no personal experience with it. You know, and
listen, I'll admit I have no personal experience with marijuana, so
I know you don't.
I'm not speaking.
You probably
from
should get high. That's what I'm trying to say.
Man, I've seen the effects on stock prices when people get high in the studio.
Oh, they jump up, man. They jump down for a little when a bunch of chickens jump off the boat, but then they come right back up. The marijuana thing is, in my opinion, it's another one of those things where people have this categorized box that they like to put marijuana users in. Like, this is the category: lazy, stoner, stupid, delusional.
It's too widespread for that. I mean, there are people I know who are doctors who use marijuana. So,
well, there's the jiu-jitsu community is a big one. There's a giant percentage of the jiu-jitsu community that does jiu-jitsu high. They have competitions.
Sounds like more of a party.
It's not, man. I'm telling you, because it's not what people think it is. If you've never smoked marijuana, this is going to be a very difficult thing to grasp. But marijuana enhances jiu-jitsu because it eliminates the rest of the world. When you're rolling, which rolling is like, say, if you and Jamie were going to have a sparring match, that would be rolling. Like, you'd slap hands, and then you'd go, and you're trying to choke him, and he's trying to get you in an arm bar, and you're going after it. When you do that on marijuana, it's like you don't think of anything else other than those movements, and it becomes like this very intense meditation in violence. Like, it's not violent in terms of, most of the time you don't really even get hurt. It's like you get to the point. Like, one of the beautiful things about jiu-jitsu is you can grab a hold of someone and choke them to the point where they're going to go to sleep, and you would kill them if you kept going, and they tap, and then you're friends again, and everybody's cool, and you try to do it to me, and I try to do it to you, and you really can do it reasonably hard without people getting hurt. And it happens every day all throughout the world. A lot of these people are high, and they're doing this jiu-jitsu practice in this almost like trends. It's like it's a transcendent state.
If you can function when you're using marijuana, I don't care.
But you can. This is what I'm saying. The perceptions are off.
So, I mean, I would assume there's a small subset of the population for whom that's not true, right? Who are overusing marijuana.
Yes.
And
that's probably the majority, in fact.
Okay, so then, you know, but again,
I would say
that's not a case
the same way with food.
I agree. So I don't think there's anything we disagree about here, because I'm not talking about criminalizing marijuana use. Right. I think that we should honestly discuss the evidence that for a subset of the population, there is some evidence that marijuana is addicting, but it's a subset. It's not everybody who's on marijuana. The vast majority of people on marijuana are not addicted to marijuana.
I think
in the same way, alcohol. I mean, it's true of alcohol as well.
There's people that are going to be addicted to almost anything, and I think there's absolutely people that are addicted to sugar. There's for sure people that are addicted to nicotine and alcohol and all these things that we let people have.
The material addictiveness of marijuana is not comparable to opioids, though, for example.
It's not even comparable to alcohol or nicotine. It seems to be very rare when people become physically addicted to it. Extremely rare. And what's common, though, is abuse. And it's common in everything that human beings consume. Abuse is common, as we said, with food. It's certainly common with alcohol. It's certainly common with pills.
But this is why, you know, I really believe that the way to solve some of these problems is a social fabric problem. Like, it's a parenting problem. It's a social fabric problem. It's a personal choice problem.
Yes.
And that's why virtually every solution I suggest is so funny. You know, I'm constantly, conservatives like me who are libertarian leaning are constantly accused of being non-compassionate. No, it's just our compassionate solutions don't involve the use of government.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to encourage people to make better decisions with their lives. And if you choose not to do that, it's a free country.
Well, you know, coming from a religious background, you have this community that reinforces this kind of behavior and thought. And I think that's one of the major, really one of the best benefits of religion is that moral fabric and that community, the sense of community. Even silly ones like Mormons, you know, they're the nicest folks.